Previously on Legends of Aelos. Having returned to the Sleeping Moon, our party is preparing to bed down once again before they start preparation for their departure the next day. Karun is approached by Dom with a proposition for the morning, after which he goes to update his fellow Neramine on what he had discussed with Calandra, and they in turn mention their plans to return to the Moon Lake. Meanwhile, Briar is spending one final night with Dacia, to which they speak more intimately, considering the soon-to-be-had departure between the two of them come the next morning. The dawn comes, and once awake, Karun and Dominicus step off into a private room so that Karun can utilize his telepathic talents to potentially help unlock some of Dom's past. In particular, how he came to be left at the doorstep and in the care of Lady Ililia. Karun experiences a significant psychic backlash from his delve due to the nature of the memory experienced, but he is able to show the events of Dom's first breaths in this world after he is born into it, and the subsequent escape, taking flight from those pursuing him simply for who he is, before he inevitably winds up at the doorstep of his remembered childhood home, where he spent his formative years. After Karun ends the delve and both compose themselves from the experience, they rejoin the others and the group prepares to head out, but not before a quick sparring session or two. As Dacia is still present, and considering the history between her and Dom, the two elect to have a friendly bout to see who might have come out on top if they crossed paths in the past, while Rowan seeks to test his developing skills against the seasoned Arel. All parties fight valiantly in their respective bouts, Ace inevitably proving that Dacia wouldn't have had it easy then, just as now, after he bests her. And though Rowan is outmatched by a far more experienced Arel, his efforts prove that the only gap separating him and Arel is time, as Rowan bolsters his resolve to continue improving his skill set and prowess. After the sparring matches, Amansar approaches the party with a quest, one that will help him secure a key component in the pursuit of restoring his daughter, the venom of a Keleg, specifically from the one that petrified Teely in the first place. Asher returns to Coria before their departure from the inn to inform her of their next quarry, as well as to request her inviting Calandra over to speak with the other Neramine at Karun's behest. The party makes their way to the cave and subsequently the beast's lair, and upon entering and illuminating its domain, they behold the foul beast in its grotesque form. Amansar forewarned of the beast's venom, and the party does their due diligence to avoid it as best they can. Asher does suffer a few stings, but fortunately not so much as to fall victim to the cursed effects of it. With relentless attack and no quarter given to the beast, the party ultimately slays it and is able to secure the tail and venom glands for Amansar. Dom finds an interesting split-faced mask along with the remaining equipment from the corpse of an unfortunately overconfident thief before they return to Lake Grasp. Upon returning to the town, in one of the market squares near the entrance, the group encounters a suspicious figure. It drops a pouch that Rowan picks up and attempts to return to it, but upon approach, as its hood is pulled back, it reveals the face of a raven, and the bag contents are discovered to be a mass of mealworms. The figure then transforms into a raven and flies away, leaving the party with peculiar questions that ominously seem to link to the raven-masked individual they had questions of since their coming to the city. The group speculates on how best to approach this. Asher recalls there being a sect of druids that worship a raven god, and Dom recalls the message of Mother Raven, the shopkeeper, whom informed him that if ever there were a need for her, he may merely look into a raven's eyes and beckon her name. Unfortunately, the only raven in the immediate vicinity had been the one to have just taken flight. Upon returning to the Sleeping Moon, Calandra is found to have already arrived and has been in conversation with the other Neramine. She assures Karun that whatever risks that might present to her and others in the pursuit of purifying the phylacteries most likely would come from something unforeseeable that the wretched entity might manifest, and the components are the least of the worries. Despite their time spent in Lake Grasp, it would appear the party still has much to do. They seek to meet with the Order of Heroes one last time, especially after the encounter with the recent hooded figure, and they have yet to meet with Istastill, all before they can finally set back on the road to rendezvous with Jathro. The five prepare to tend to their final matters in town, and it is from here we shall continue the story of the Legends of Aelos.